Mood swings, strange hot flushes, implants and the like. Our body as women go through the strangest changes, and sometimes we are too embarrassed or too worried to speak about it. So on today's DKW show, we're gonna face every single one of these embarrassing health problems one by one. So you won't wanna miss this one, ladies. Get your cuppa and stay tuned. Hello ladies and gents, that's right. On today's DKW show, we are talking those health angst that we're sometimes too afraid or embarrassed to talk about. Everything from strange urges to those crazy mood swings and hot flushes. So if you do have any questions, you can always hit us up and give us a call. And on today's show, I have the lovely Shireen and Maria.
Hello.
How are you lovely ladies doing?
Very healthy and fine, thank you.
Likewise here.
Do you
Very
know what?
healthy and fine.
Just before we get into the news, what do you think about this topic? Because many women do go through strange phases in their health. Of course, you know, life and so on, but they're so embarrassed to talk about it. I mean, how do you feel about it? Because you're both coming from different, you know, backgrounds and ages.
Than Maria, of course,
So
as you can
not
tell.
serious.
Oh, come on now.
So I haven't gone through as many health issues as Maria,
You are
but
so
being the young
terrible.
woman that I am.
She is.
No, but your body does change. I mean, I think a big issue for women is your face, aging. You know, there's that issue. First of all, you're the spotty teenager, and then you develop, and then, you know, you start using a lot of makeup and things like that. And sometimes the makeup itself is not really good for your skin.
Yeah.
You don't cleanse and things like that. That's what I've seen getting older. If I don't take good care of my skin now, I know that I'll have those, you know, really bad crow's eyes and things like that. And there's some things you can avoid in the aging process if you take care of your health now. So there's the skin, there's the body. You know, the curves start appearing in areas that you don't, you know, before when you were younger, not as many, things like that. So the woman's body is always changing, and sometimes it can be embarrassing.
Yeah.
But it's something that we need to embrace, and I'm happy that we're talking about it and being honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a really good topic for all women because, yeah, I mean, you know, us women, we go through so much, you know, that high to the next, and yeah, there's always something. Women always have issues to talk about, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, there's always
and
something.
because we want to talk about it, we want to hear from you outside, the viewers.
Yeah.
If you've got some embarrassing experiences that you'd like to share, things that you've been able to overcome, or things that you know you want to talk about just with us in the studio, please give us a call. We're live 0207 686 6300, or you can email us your comments at dkw.me. Now, before we go on, Jen, I must say today we had a really lovely surprise.
Ooh, tell me.
DKW. We had, do you remember when we went to Westfield?
Yes,
we were live
yes.
at Westfield. We had some of those two really special people come and visit us today. So I need to give another shout out to Auntie Bosse and Eamon. Thank you so much for coming to see us. That was lovely of you.
Lovely.
And also, do you remember Maxine who did the Zumba
Yes.
for us at Westfield? Well, she's got some really fab tips on her Facebook page. I think it's Maxine the Beauty Queens.
Yeah.
But if you get a bit lost,
Good.
Zumba
Yeah.
Beauty Queens.
Zumba Beauty Queens.
Okay,
Maxine Zumba
if you get a bit
Beauty
lost,
Queens.
you can just go to our Facebook page, A Different Kind of Woman, and I think the link is there. There you can see some of her good healthy tips for us there. Thanks for those, Maxine.
Brilliant stuff. Shireen, tell us
Yes.
what's been happening on the news before we delve into the health and so on, because there's been so much going on
Yes.
recently, and the one that everyone has been talking about or had it on the tip of the tongue is our Maggie.
Maggie Thatcher.
Tell us.
Well, this week we had her funeral,
Yeah.
a £10 million. Oh, did I say that? Sorry, her funeral. Unfortunately, I couldn't go. I couldn't go and see it like many people could because I was at work. As I need to pay for my council tax, you see, so I couldn't go down to see it myself.
You had used that was a low one.
Unfortunately,
She
I
had
I
to
knew
put
that
one
was
in.
coming.
I
She
couldn't
had
go
to
and
put
see
that
it.
one
Yeah,
in.
I knew
couldn't
that
go
was
and see,
coming.
but Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of mixed opinion about the money that was spent on the funeral, the way the funeral was conducted, and a lot of mixed opinion about her herself, the Iron Lady. I mean, we had protesters, we had some people going a bit far, in my opinion, you know, saying the witch is dead and things like that.
Yeah.
And other people arguing that, you know what, she deserved to have a good funeral and a good send-off.
But do you know what? I want to throw this question to you both ladies. Some people might argue with all the cuts and everything that's been happening, £10 million, isn't that a little excessive for a funeral? What do you think, Maria, going? Because I know you was like, but it's, no, seriously, because £10 million, people say, you know, there's been so many cuts and so many things going on, and obviously she was a relic for some people. Some people really admire the work that she did, some people don't, but the fact of the matter is they did spend £10 million.
In a recession.
Yeah, in recession, Shireen, well said. I do remember hearing something that she actually planned her funeral.
Really?
Yes, so I'm just wondering, did she plan a £10 million funeral for herself?
I don't
because
think so.
I don't think she did.
I
don't think she did.
I don't want to talk too much about that, but yeah.
However, I do have something to say, because I mean, I did watch a bit of it. Like I said, I was watching a bit of it, and I saw so many MPs. I mean, there was a lot of people there. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, this looks like royalty.
Yeah. I mean, she was a baroness.
Okay. So then, in that case, my argument, my argument, which my mum really thought she was, you know, I don't really know actually, but you know, I'm just thinking, well, okay, if that's the case, if so much money was spent, all these MPs, everyone, celebrities, you name it, they were there, but why didn't the public get a holiday?
I'm telling you.
Oh, that is a very, very good question.
Why not?
And you know what? I want to throw it out to the viewers. What do you think about Maggie's funeral, Margaret Thatcher's funeral that happened this Wednesday? You can give us a call on 0207 686 6300. Do you think 10 million was a bit excessive, or was it the right amount for a special lady? Do you also think the way the funeral was conducted was appropriate, and do you think the protesters were well in their right to protest? Let us know what you think. Once again, the telephone number is 0207 686 6300. Now, you know, I mentioned the point about the protesters.
Yes.
And, you know, people do have mixed opinions about Margaret Thatcher and the work that she did and so on. But one would say that I think it was a bit unfair for the protesters to protest like that, because, you know, it is someone's funeral. At least have respect for their family, regardless of what you think about the individual. You know, I just think it was inappropriate, because some people had banners like "Ding Dong, the witch is dead," and all of these kind of hurtful and mean things. I know you're just about to say something.
I'm trying to help myself.
I was just thinking, if that was my mum, regardless of whether you like my mother or not, to have a banner outside her funeral going, "Yay, the witch is dead," you know, that would hurt. What are your thoughts on it?
Can I have my thoughts now? What it is this, right? You know, I don't condone that kind of behaviour. I think that's out of order personally. However, as many, I know if Gemma was here, our fellow DKW presenter, she would be fighting for how, you know, this woman was iconic and she stood up for what she believed in. And her famous line was, "This lady is not for turning," and you go, girl. But no, because my mum, I remember I was a child growing up through her reign, and I never forget what my mum told me, and I have to just laugh. She said that when Maggie Thatcher was campaigning to be Prime Minister, she held up a shopping basket and she said, "I'm a housewife, and now with £10, this is all you can buy," and there was only a few products inside the bag, inside the shopping basket. "But if you elect me," she held another basket full of shopping, "you'll be able to afford this basket." And they voted for her in, and then she introduced the council tax.
Well, was it the non-poll or something like that?
Tax? Was it poll tax?
Poll tax or something like that.
That we still have today from her reign.
Yes.
And you know, things were really, really hard. So these are people who had to go through that really hard time and had the brunt of her reign. So this is them reacting, saying, you know, at that time,
do you know what?
It wasn't really and the poorer families, it was really hard. It was really hard.
Do you know what?
Time.
Let's call the clip, and then afterwards, let's see if your opinions still stand. I think we've got a clip of what happened on the day. Oh my goodness, I was just looking at our TV there. I mean, you had protesters shouting out waste of money. Now, it's a really controversial one, but I just don't know what to think. I just think of the family. If that was me, I would feel gutted. Don't you think there could have been a better way that they could have protested?
What's the better way, Jen? I mean, the thing is, at that time when she introduced all these things, you know, that were hard on the families at the time, they did protest and they did a lot of things. She actually came on national TV and said, you could do it all you like. I'm just not going to change my mind. I don't care if you're suffering with the thing. This was Maggie Thatcher. This was how she was. She didn't want to hear the people's opinion. She wasn't interested. So now the people are voicing their opinion after all these years. So now they're just voicing all the pain and hurt they felt. I'm not condoning it, not at all, because I would never do that personally. But this was the people's way of saying, do you know what? You never let us speak. So now we're speaking.
And talking about never let people speak, I'm so sorry, Maria, I cut you off there. I just had to get the video clip out there. What was you going to say?
Well, my personal opinion, I mean, everyone has their opinion. Everyone, you know, can shout out their opinion and everything. But, I mean, there was a bit there where they actually had a dummy of Maggie, and a dummy that they were going to go and burn.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit excessive now.
Really,
that's too much. That's too much. That's too much.
I do. It is too much. It is too much, because at the end of the day, okay, people will have their opinion. The damages they're done. There's nothing we can do, and you know, since Maggie, we've had to pay the price. So the way I see it, but literally, yes. But the way I see it is that, you know, it was a funeral, and for the sake of the family, I wouldn't have done that. I personally thought that, you know, okay, if they wanted to do something, wait afterwards, but at least let the family get through.
I've got a comment, you know, Jen. I've got a comment from Dave Winslow, who's 22-year-old. He's an anthropology student from Durham, and he was holding one of the placards saying, Rest of us in poverty, and wearing a t-shirt with messages, power to the people and society doesn't exist. Oh, sorry, society does exist. Was one of the, so he was one of the people that were in the silent protest. So he wasn't one of those shouting. He was just wearing those clothes. And he said on the day that we want to maintain a dignified protest, he said. It's counterproductive to catcall and sing ding dong, the witch is dead.
There you go.
The message is that spending £10 million on such a divisive figure in times of austerity, well, times of recession, etc., especially when it's being imposed on the poor, is wrong, especially when harm is being caused to the disabled and the NHS.
See, this is my thing, Dave. I think Dave well spotted out, in my personal opinion. If you are gonna make a statement, I like the way he said it, and it was dignified. It was getting your message across. Because to be honest, those people that were putting their placards up, singing those things, they did look a bit rowdy, like if they were hooligans and if they were dangerous and they were going to do something or attack someone afterwards. So I believe the way Dave went about it, perhaps I think was better, even though Shireen, you can't see her because she's on the other camera, like yeah, Jennifer, yeah, the woman, yeah. So, I mean...
Now, I must say, when I watched the film, did you ever watch a film about her, Iron Lady?
I didn't get to see all of it, no. And do you know what's so bad? I've got it.
Oh, you should watch it, because to be honest with you, I'm saying all these things now, but when I did watch the movie about her, I did have a kind of respect towards her, one that I didn't have before. Because watching her, you could see that it was really hard. I mean, being the first female prime minister, and you know, all, you know, honour to that. I mean, I must say that's really good. You know, that's a privilege to be able to, you know, stood there. She did it for 3 terms. But you know, and she did do some good. There were some good things, and I know that people could call in to say some of the good. And it's just sad that those kind of things that she did put into the public had such a devastating impact that, you know, we just can't remember the good that she did. And that's the thing about death. Normally, a death of a person, you try to forget their wrongs. You know, when someone dies, you try to forget their, remember all the good things. And we should have been doing that for Maggie Thatcher, but I'm afraid that, you know, I think there was just so much bad done in her time that that's all that people can remember.
But Shireen, it's very hard for people to remember the good of someone when they're still
in that situation.
Well, do you know what? Let us know what you think about our Maggie Thatcher, who had her funeral on Wednesday. If you think the 10 million was money well spent or money unwisely spent, please give us a call on 0207 686 6300. Right, I've got a picture, I believe, and a quote from a celebrity. So for this part, I need your total cooperation. And it's, what do you think about Hollywood's best figure in 1930s? What would you say women, their best figure was in the 1930s?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
You don't know?
I read 1930s. Who was around then?
Jean Simmons. She. I remember her movies.
But
Jean
what
Simmons,
was her figure like? Because now these days, the woman now these days is
very, quite. Oh, how can I say that?
Is it like busty, but then go?
No. She was very kind of like slim figure and
yeah.
You know, I mean, to me, she looked
Marilyn Monroe style. That's what I would think.
Well, Marilyn Monroe was a bit more out, but Jean Simmons, she was more kind of like slim and very elegant. You know, her clothes.
Elegant.
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree. And according to a vintage article for Movie Stars, it says the ideal body shape back then was warmly curved and roundly turned. All right then. Like our model over there.
I don't see the curves there, but okay.
A panel of industry experts scrutinized actresses' body proportions, and that was their finding. It just goes to show how things have changed over the years. Do you think that women now these days have more pressure and stress to attain a certain body type, and as a result that's reflected negatively on their health?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think it's as, I don't know what you think, Maria. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as it was like when I was growing up as a teenager, like in your 80s. I think there was a lot of pressure then to be really skinny. But I think now that we've got people like Beyonce out, do you know, who doesn't really care about her thighs and she just shows it to the world and look, this is who I am, you know, and the more busty types, then I think that our curvier shape is being more accepted. Like you've got people like Wendy Williams who're just out there, do you know what I mean? And she's
but
as a mind.
Wendy, I don't think Wendy's all real, really. So.
But even then, do you see what I mean? So it's like there's not that pressure to be skinny. Like, although she's not real, she's decided to be really curvy because I think it's more acceptable nowadays than it was maybe like a decade ago.
I think there's more pressure now.
What would you say?
I don't know. I mean, okay, I've seen some celebrities there that just had a baby, and within 2 or 3 weeks you see them like they've never had a child, you know, and they have a flat stomach. They look actually, you know, really slim. Like, and I think nowadays there's more pressure than there was back then.
Do you think so?
Yeah,
I don't feel the pressure personally.
I don't know. That's my opinion, but I just think.
But do you know what? We're going to delve into that after the break and go into our health angst and those embarrassing questions that you probably always wanted to know the answer about but never got the chance. But on a quick note, before we do go to the break, I wanted to congratulate the marathon winner, Priska Jepton, who won the London Marathon today. They all went running, ladies.
Oh, wow.
Can you ever see yourself running a marathon?
Me?
Yes.
Jennifer, you know me. I don't do running. I can't do running at all. I can't run for the bus. No. I really, I must give it to them that do that. I think that's fantastic.
I would. I would, yeah, if I was fit enough.
She's running.
I've actually run the 5K twice, so I don't know if it comes anywhere near the marathon.
But did you find that you was unhealthier when running?
I was unhealthy.
Like I was training to run and so on?
Yeah, I was very unhealthy.
Do you know?
I was terribly unhealthy.
Do you know what? Look, there's a picture there of them winning and so on. But you know, one thing I noticed about the marathon runners, they're always so slim and slender. Those who actually win. And you know what? Maybe there's women out there who would love to run a marathon, but they look at themselves and think, "Oh my gosh, I am so improportioned and so on, and I'm really, really unhealthy." Well, like I said, after the break, we're gonna be going into those embarrassing moments, so you don't want to miss it, ladies. Stay tuned. So ladies, we are back talking health today. We're talking about the things that sometimes we're too embarrassed to talk about. And we're going to go into some embarrassing health issues here. We're going to have the top 5, I believe. So I'm just going to delve straight into it. But if you do want to give us a call and share your experience or any health issues that you would just like to discuss on the show, give us a call on 0207 686 6300, the number right there at the bottom of the screen. So the first one, Shireen, actually we're going to do 3 so far. So you've got the first one.
I do, but I would like to share my embarrassing experience. Actually,
really? You want to delve into
I want to face my fear and do it. Yeah, because I'm not afraid to say, because that's what the show is about, isn't it? When I was going through a really stressful time in life, I started losing my hair.
No.
Yeah, I started having alopecia. Like
wait,
bald
wait,
patches.
Sorry, start again. You was going through a
very
stressful,
stressful time.
period, and then your hair just started to fall out.
It just started to fall out. When I started brushing my hair, it would just come out in the brush. And then before I knew it, I started ignoring. And people that know me very well know that I used to like really scrape my hair back and put gel it back, like, you know, in a bun. Anyway, next thing you know, I just had these bald patches around my head where there's no hair. But no hair. I'm serious. Like, not there's tufts of hair. Like there's nothing. It's like clean. You like a baby's bottom. Yeah. So this is how that was very embarrassing for me. Very embarrassing. It's very stressful because, you know, hair in women is very important. Like, you know, hair is a very important part.
I just want to get this straight. So
body.
you're combing your hair and clumps of your hair
out.
So for me, because like I've got a mane like a lion. So for me, I'm the reverse. Like you put a comb through it and it snaps.
Yeah. I just do a natural hair, isn't it?
Yeah, so unless it goes through the processes and everything and stuff like that. So for me to hear clumps of your hair, falling out,
and I don't have a lot of hair anyway. So, you know, being less black folk that I am, I have, you know, a lot, and it's quite thin. So that was quite distressing. But then one thing I did discover is extensions, tracks is one of the wonderful creations in life. And that's what I do now. And I mean, a lot of it has grown back. I still have a few little patches.
That must have been really scary.
It was. But then I just got, you know, it has, a lot of it has grown back. You get some really good creams, you know, and stuff like that. And it has grown back a lot, but there's still a few little patches here and there. And what I do, you will never see my hair up ever in life because there's some patches at the back still. But, you know, this invention of extension is a wonderful thing. And tracks as well really help. And it gives you more confidence and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, if I never had that alopecia, you know, moment, I would never have ever tried extensions or tracks or nothing like that because I was never that into those kind of things. But I love them now, and it's really it gives you confidence. I do things in my head that I would not normally do because everyone knew me to be always one style.
Slick back.
And so that's the good thing that came out of it. So there I was not afraid to say that I have had alopecia. But not anymore.
Wow, that's a new one.
That is, yes.
So,
yeah.
Sorry, I don't even know. I'm really.
I can't imagine what you were going through at the time.
It was
horrible.
horrible.
It must have been really scary.
No, it's scary. It's scary. You feel like you've got no control. Like I said, hair. I didn't realize how much I loved my hair when I started losing it.
Because why? Many women might be going through the same thing as what you went through.
It's so distressing. But you know what? My sisters always say that to me. My mum as well. You have to make the best of what you have.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point in you stressing out. And in modern society, there's always something you can do, and it doesn't have to be expensive. You know, but there's always something you can do to better yourself and make yourself feel happy about yourself. You know, and that's the good things. That's why I took the best out of it. I just thought, you know what? There are things I can do, and I'm just going to do them.
Oh, that's what I love about Shireen. She's so
There's
positive.
There's something you can do because, you know, these things happen. These things happen, you know, and sometimes you just can't avoid it. And hair loss is one of those things.
Yeah.
And it's for different reasons. Some people it's because of stress. Some people it's because of their diet. It's something that they eat that's not quite right, and they've got to, you know, examine. But, you know, while you're trying to examine what may be wrong, why not get a wig? If you feel like myself, extensions, just a bit of tracks, make yourself feel happy. Because, you know, when you look good, you feel good about yourself.
So true.
So I wasn't going to let that get me down. No way.
Love it.
Good on
I mean,
you.
if you've gone through the same
Good on
situation as well, give us a call on 0207 686 6300. But embarrassing moment.
Yeah,
or health
the top
issue, I should say.
Yes.
Number 3.
It's a weak bladder.
Gosh, do you know what? Let me tell you something about this whole thing with a weak bladder. People laugh, but like I know of a lady where if she sneezes, if she laughs, no, seriously. Like even the people at the production, they're like, no, if she sneezes, if she laughs, if she coughs, she trickles a bit. No, seriously. And I bet there's some women watching the show right now nodding, and especially after she had children. When she had child number 2, it's like her bladder almost went kaput. You know, sometimes you're supposed to do those exercises they tell you you're supposed to, like, no one can really see you clenching, but you just clench to strengthen the muscles. You're supposed to do that every so often. But with her, it was just so bad. They had to do she had to have some snips and surgery and a little something to, you know, give her the control back. No, seriously. Do you know what? They're looking at me like if I'm crazy, like if no one goes through this, can you please call if you've gone through something similar and let us know how you dealt with it? Because I'm sure you're going to help a woman out there. Weak bladder is a problem.
I don't think this is a very uncommon thing. I think if you really, you know, if we really did a study on this, you'll find a lot of women suffers from this.
Well, according to this, it's 1 in 4.
Yeah,
1 in 4
1 in
women
4
suffer, according to medicinenet.com. Yeah, so it's 1 in 4 women suffer with it. Actually, our DKW Angel, do you remember Desireen?
Yeah.
She also had a really weak bladder. She used to wet herself on the street. So it is quite common, and you'd look at her, you'd never think this is a situation she was going through. But she would not be able to make it to the toilet on time. So, you know, and I think that she was even thinking of wearing like a nappy and things like that. This is a grown woman.
Like what I think you call them the tenor ladies. The tenor ladies and stuff like that. No, but it is true. But like, I don't know, is there a tip on?
There is. According to medicinenet.com, the treatment for an overactive bladder depends on the capabilities of the patient. Generally, treatment can be a behavioural retraining through medications and surgical. Oh dear.
So the one that I mentioned.
Regular daily exercise of the pelvic muscles can improve and even prevent urinary incontinence. This is particularly helpful for younger women.
You see, so those clenches that she was talking about was common sense. Just mentioning clenches, I was like, okay then, because I really did feel bad for her, because imagine you're a woman in like I think she's in her early 40s, probably she just turned 40, early 40s. You've got 2 children, and you know it's been like what 5 years since you had your last child and everything, and all of a sudden you're noticing your friend wants to like crack a joke and you don't want to laugh so much because you know you're gonna pee and or if you cough or if you sneeze, and imagine at work and chewing, you know,
and that's it, you're gone. That is proper embarrassing.
It is.
Someone's laughing in the background.
But it's very, very embarrassing. No, I know. It's some of the studio guys, but it's very, very embarrassing. But at least you know what you can do. You've got 3 options there. There's medication, or if it's really causing you to be distressed, speak to your GP about it. See if some surgery can perhaps help, or also the exercises as well. Perhaps those exercises can help you. Ladies, what's the next point?
Well, I think that's mine, actually.
Yes. What have you got there, Maria?
Ooh. Well, I'm glad I don't suffer from this one. Smelly
Is
feet. I am so happy
kidding.
I don't suffer
Do you
from
know
this.
what? Smelly feet. The thing is with women and smelly feet, in my personal opinion, I think with men, when they have smelly feet, it's kind of like, I don't know, expected. I know it's weird because like cheesy feet with guys.
I think that would put me off. I think.
Would that put? Okay, actually, I'm so sorry to throw it in a different angle, but if your hubby or whatever has got smelly feet, is it a big deal for you?
For me, it is. For me, I think it would be. I don't like smelly feet. I don't like smelly
But now, okay,
feet.
that's
I like taking care of my feet, and I really do.
But what if you've got a viewer out there that's watching the show? Like, I do everything. I have a pedicure. I buff my feet. No, seriously, ladies, I buff my feet every day. You know, I have the soap baths, but my feet just sweat, and then they stink.
Well, I think if I have a husband and he comes home with smelly feet,
No,
I would just get a bucket of water and start washing his feet.
I think that's it, really.
But I think, but you know, at the end of the day, I just think, it is an embarrassing thing. I don't know.
Well, do you know what? I think it's only embarrassing when you've got to go to someone's house.
Yes.
Because that's happened. Like, you know, you have people around, and then I'm one of those people, the annoying people, the host from the house that say, could you move your shoes from outside?
My sister does that.
Yeah, I'm one of those annoying people, because every time I think of what's happening outside, I just can't take that. So I said, you can put your shoe in the bathroom, it's really fine, but just remove it. But then sometimes some people will be embarrassed to remove it because they know they've got this problem. Yeah. Especially if they wear like tights a lot and things like that. So that's when it becomes embarrassing, when it's in front of someone else. I think if it's your own issue and you know you're going to go home, you're just going to wash your feet and put your feet up, it's all right. But when there's other people around, it can be very, very embarrassing, especially when you don't expect it. You know, there's moments where you have to remove your shoe for whatever reason, and it's like in public.
I mean, with me, so true. With me, I mean, wherever I go, I remove my shoes anyway. I think I'm so used to doing this at my sister's house, so I do it everywhere I go. But yeah, it is an embarrassing thing.
What can they do? I mean, what tips have you got there?
Well, let's see what I've got. Well, it says here at least 1/3 of us suffer from smelly feet. I don't, by the way.
That's one,
I don't know. Well, I think look after your feet, wash your feet more often, you know, use cotton wools in between your toes. And I think that's one of the places that really actually smells between a person's toes, you know?
But you know what, that sounds really random, but I actually could believe that. I've even got some points here. I mean, like, for example, they say that you can dip some wool in some surgical spirit after a bath or a shower. And then the surgical spirit helps dry out the skin between the toes. See, that's exactly what you were saying.
Yes.
And then also you can actually use this, and you know, spray deodorant.
Yes.
Or antiperspirant on your feet. And what you would use on your normal underarm, it will work just the same as getting a specialist foot product, basically.
And they do have an insole that you could actually, you know, for smelly feet, if, you know, to prevent smelly feet. I mean, I don't know whether it works or not, but they do have it, you know. And, you know, regular visits to chiropodist, make sure your toenails is cut properly. And I think what else can you do with smelly feet? Apart from just wash and general hygiene,
but
really.
You know what? I've got the next point, and this one actually came up as something highly common. We actually researched this, and a lot of women are embarrassed to speak about it. Fortunately enough, I can say I honestly haven't suffered from it, but it's the number one is pimples on your backside. Well known as milk spots, chicken skin, KP stats, and it affects 40% of women. Now, I've got half of the studio here absolutely embarrassed. I've got the cameraman looks quite and the women in the studio. It's the way that she's my co-presenters are absolutely in awe. They're in shock, laughing. But it says, look, it affects 40% of women. What do you think about that? 40%. But
how does it happen? Like, I don't get it.
I don't know. Okay. Well, let me see what it says.
Spots just like appearing on your bum, kind of thing. That's
basically, it says one quote from the doctor says it can't be cured or prevented. It's due to a hereditary nature, so it's inherited, I believe.
But is it painful? Or, you know?
Okay, this is my embarrassing moment.
Oh, God.
It's all coming out now.
It's all coming out.
Close your eyes, cameraman. Close your ears. Okay, well, for me, it's actually, I do get them. I do get them.
Those pimples.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, really? I do. Actually, it's not so much on the bottom, but it's kind of like, well, now when does that happen? Okay, I've got someone there rolling on the floor, literally rolling on the floor.
No, but you know what? There might be some women. There might be some women out there who suffer from this.
Well,
you know,
absolutely.
And you know what? We are giggling. I'm so sorry. We are giggling about it, but it's actually not that funny because there could be someone who's actually traumatized by this. Yes. They think there's something absolutely wrong with them. And, you know, they're absolutely embarrassed or scared to go to the doctor. And the thing is, it doesn't look like it's something really serious, but it does happen. It isn't something too serious at all.
When I'm talking about pimples, I don't know what kind of pimples they're talking about.
What are you talking about, my love?
Pimples is that, you know, when it's that time of the month?
Yeah.
Okay. Most people get their pimples on their faces. You know, you see a lot of women getting theirs. Well, I don't get mine on my face.
Right.
Okay, so you can guess where I get mine. So that has been an ongoing thing for me for years and years and years and years.
But how did you deal with it? Was you embarrassed? Was you scared?
Of course, I was very embarrassed because I felt different from any other women.
Half of the women on this planet are not far off from you.
But I didn't know that at the time.
That's
you know,
good to know,
and for me, it was quite. I mean, I was scared. I was like, you know, why am I so different? I see many women with their pimples on their faces, but why is mine there? Yeah. You know, but it's there every month without fail.
Wow.
It's there every month.
Well, look at what Dr. Nick Lowell says. He's a consultant dermatologist, the creator of successful skincare range. He says it's a very common condition, ladies. So if you're out there and you felt like Maria and you felt absolutely crazy and alone and like if you're like the worst person ever, you're not. It's absolutely common. But it's just about overproduction of keratin and retinol A and a mild dermabrasion that may need work. He maintains we do not splash You do not have to splash out on trips to a dermatologist. There are at-home treatments that one can have that have a lasting effect. But there is no cure for it. Anyone who tells you there is misleading you.
Wow.
There is.
So if there's no cure, and it's just overproduction of keratin and retinol A.
But there's no cure.
Do you know what? You know, some people might argue, like I would say, oh, well, it happens in, you know, in an area that no one sees. It's just your own little personal issue.
Yeah,
so if people can't see it, then it's not so bad, because I think there's some women who would love to swap having those pimples on their bum. You know, the ones that get, you know, those people that get really bad spots, and they would happily swap.
Let me tell you my personal story. Right. Growing up, I'm going to show this later on, and I'm going to speak about it in more detail, but I've suffered from really bad acne. But
see, that's a major thing.
That was so bad. And I used to get spots everywhere, all over my forehead, going around in my face. And I tried so many things, but I've got a whole segment because the production team went and kindly got a picture of myself, and they're going to show it after the break. So, and I've got production like, we're going to show this after the break, which is really embarrassing. So if you think yours is embarrassing, you're going to see a picture of me like almost 15 years ago of me looking absolutely crazy. But if you do have any health problems or concerns and you wanted to share your experience, or maybe you've gone through the same thing that Shireen or Maria has gone through, give us a call on the number below. It's 0207 686 6300, and we'll be more than happy to share it on the on the TV program today. So stay tuned, and we'll be back after this break. Welcome back, ladies and gents out there. So on today's show, we're talking about those health questions that you might have always had lingering on your head but afraid to ask. We talked about everything from crazy pimples to sweaty feet and armpits and so on, to weak bladders. But I've got a little game for the ladies here in the studio. I'm going to ask you a few questions. And there are some common things that, you know, women should know. But I want to find out just how clued up are you? Shireen's like shaking her head like, don't ask me first, I'm going to go for you first. So, when should you have your first pap smear and pelvic exam?
First of all, what is a pap smear? I'm serious, I ain't got a clue.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. What is that? Is it by another name? Is it known by another name? Or I truly don't know what it is.
It's kind of the same thing. I think it's the same thing when you're doing your smear test, because usually when you get the letter, it's usually for both. Correct me if I'm wrong, people. You can always call them.
I got a letter that I need to start having mine when I was like 20 something. But I don't know what exactly happened. Is it when you start becoming sexually active?
That's it, yeah.
Okay.
It says a woman should get her first pap smear and pelvic exam when she becomes sexually active. She should have one annually for the next 3 years, and then can skip a year in between, provided those prior results are normal. So those ladies out there who are sexually active and you haven't had your smear test yet, I would run along as soon as possible to your local GP and book one. It's very important to do. Next one, Maria. How often, oh gosh, that's a strange one. Actually, no, I'm going to change it to this one. What is a colonoscopy? Now, oh gosh, this links back to me as well. Colonoscopy.
I don't know. I don't know. What is it?
Oh,
isn't it where they put this? I'm trying here. Okay, just bear with me. When they put this camera inside to check your whatever it is, colons, whatever.
Yeah. No. What it is it's a test where it allows the doctor to look in the inner lining of your large intestines, and it helps to find ulcers, colon polyps, tumors, and areas of inflammation and bleeding. I have to tell you, I've had one of those.
Really?
And it's not the most pleasant thing. I had a small internal hemorrhage inside my inner colon, and it was horrible. For me, I had the worst experience, because apparently the doctor, who's a specialist, he says most people's colons go like that, but mine was going like
that.
So imagine they had to stick a tube with a camera inside of me, and it was scraping. It kept going around each bed. I was like, ow, ow, ow. I felt like a woman who was about to give birth. They put me on gas and air. It was
My
so it can be. Do you know? But do you know what? It's a pretty standard procedure. People get it all the time. Both
But how
men and
long
women.
did that camera stay inside of you then?
Oh gosh, I think it was about 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
So it's quick.
It's not too long. It was about 15 or 20 minutes. But the thing is, you can actually see your insides, which is freaky. Do you remember that film, like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, or one of those films when they went inside the person and they could see? It was like that. I could see my insides and it was like, oh, gross. But I could actually see where I had my tear. It was really freaky, yeah. So people, if you ever feel sick around that area, I'm not trying to get people all scared now. Everyone's going to start running to the GP. But if you ever feel uncomfortable and so on, just run off to your GP and have yourself checked out. There's no harm in it. Luckily for me, I found the problem.
Did you just ask, or did your GP suggest that there's something you should do?
Well, I asked because I asked and the GP suggested it was both. Because I kept having this problem and they kept saying it's gas or it's irritable bowel syndrome or it's this and this, that. And I was like, no, I know my body, something's not quite right. And luckily I got a female GP who she shared my concerns and so on. She was like, you know what, I'm going to send you off for a colonoscopy. I'm going to, take on board some of your queries. And she sent me there and lo and behold, I found it. There's a small hemorrhage inside. So it's another thing I would like to say to you ladies out there. Your health is your responsibility. Just because someone writes you off or says that it's nothing to worry about, if you still have that gut feeling that something isn't okay, you need to deal with it because you can't blame anyone at the end of the day if something goes wrong because it's your body.
Do you know what? I really like what you just said there, Jennifer, because to be honest with you, I don't know, nowadays, when you go to your GP, the answer's the same. Take ibuprofen. No, I'm serious. It's always the same thing. And others can call in to either agree or disagree, but that's what I find. I find like sometimes I don't even think, when I've got a pain or something, I just think, what's the point? I'm going to go stay hours at the GP or in accident and emergency and they're going to tell me to take ibuprofen.
Yeah.
But what you said there is so key because you asked for these things. So, can I have this? And now, even me being on the show, I feel educated. I feel like, you know what, if I did have a problem here, I would ask for this specific thing.
I don't know if this is still correct, you can Google it, but apparently you are allowed to get a check annually from head to toe from your GP. Right. They don't advertise it.
You see?
But you can go to your GP. And do you know what really sparked it off? I was with a previous GP beforehand and I went for my bloods to get my bloods checked out because, diabetes and things like that are really common within my family and within the West African community anyway. So I went to get my bloods checked and a month went by, no one said anything. 2 months went by, no one said anything. And I thought, okay, maybe everything is fine. And I called them up and they said, no, don't worry. 6 months down the line, I called the doctor in regards to something else and he was like, didn't someone call you?
Oh my
I was like, call me in regards to what? Well, you had that blood test 6 months ago. Your vitamin D level is so low that, that was the reason why you kept getting sick before. And we need to send you back for another blood test. And I was like, what? Imagine if I had diabetes or low iron or died or something. Yeah. And then I realized, oh my gosh, my health is my responsibility. Indeed. I can't just assume that everything is okay. So ladies, take care of your health.
Something quickly that you said, Shireen, is that you said, when you have a headache, you think, okay, what's the point? Because your doctor's just going to say to you, go home and take some. But, it's so important for women not to think that way, for anyone not to think that way. Because, especially with a headache, because you don't know what is going on in there.
It's true.
So I would definitely say even if it's the slightest headache that has been continuous for a few days, go to your GP. Don't waste time.
Do you know what? And even celebrities, they're not immune. There's times when celebrities have had their own health angst. Yeah.
I've got actually a news piece about that, actually, Jen, to support what you're just saying. Former Liberty X?
Yes, I remember them.
Liberty X, but from my days. Former Liberty X star Michelle Heaton had to undergo a double mastectomy and have her ovaries removed in a bid to save her life. The singer who found fame on ITV1's Pop Stars, do you remember Pop Stars?
Yeah.
Broke down in tears when she was told that she was diagnosed as having a mutated gene called BRCA2, meaning she has an 80% chance of breast cancer. It's very high.
Oh my God.
And a 30% risk of ovarian cancer. The mum of daughter Faith said that her life was crumbling. can just imagine that kind of news. And that she almost told her husband, the businessman Hugh Hanley, that she wanted him to meet someone else if she died.
Oh gosh.
But it seems that the Liberty X girls had nothing to worry about. After tempestuous few months, Michelle Heaton seemed well and truly back in form, as during a performance at the big reunion concert in February this year, big reunion, we love big reunion, she revealed her midriff in a tiny black top and skin-tight trousers. You go, girl. Although she didn't admit that the crotch of her outfit had split in rehearsals.
Well, then you don't go, girl.
Oh yeah, in that case, no, take that back.
No.
Yeah.
But as you can see, you see why it's really, really important to get yourself checked out. 80% chance of getting breast cancer. That is ridiculously
Very
high. Very high.
And it's good that she could do something about it in time, because that's really, really important. That those checks, especially for us women. Cancer and breast cancer is something that I think most women, they will worry about. Getting. That's why those checks, anything that you see inside of your body, that's a bit different. You have to, and you've got to persist. Like Jennifer, that's something I've learned on the show. You have to really persist with your GP.
Because think about that GP. Think about that GP. He has or she has so many people to take care of, and usually they've only got 3 minutes per person.
That's right.
So if you've got like 20 people to see during the day, they don't really want to be spending 5 minutes or 10 minutes with you, because it's just going to prolong their backlog of people that they have to see. But having said that, speaking about the GP and so on, there was many times, this is my own personal thing, where I had to go to the GP about my acne. I tried everything. I tried lemons, I tried creams, I tried...
Your skin is well smooth, Jennifer.
Oh my gosh, I went through trauma with my skin, and gosh, I know production are going to show the picture of me when I was in secondary school.
Can't see it.
That is me. Can you
Jennifer,
believe
you
it?
had one chubby child.
But do you know what? I don't know if you noticed, my cheeks are like bright orange, like they're bright orange, because I tried so much. I had so many like spots all over my forehead and going all the way around my face that I even tried bleaching creams. Yes, I tried some heavy duty bleaching creams just to get rid of the spots. And do you know what happened? The moment because I was secretly using these bleaching creams, I managed to find some, and I mixed them into a big like composition of chemical gook, and I would stick it on my face all the time. And you know what? It did lighten my skin. I'm sure. But the problem is, you can see all the scars. So I thought, oh my gosh, this is not going to work. And then, when you get those big, fat, juicy red pimples all over your face, it's really, really bad. And I stopped using them. Then my face went really, really dark, even darker than before. But what made it even worse is I had bright orange cheeks. As you can see from that picture.
Goodness.
But the way I dealt with it is all down to like your hormones and so on. And I actually went to the GP again, and this GP, he didn't refer me on to a dermatologist. However, he gave me simple tips like using certain creams. For me, I wouldn't advertise going and getting salicylic acid on your face, because if you've got sensitive skin, it might kill your skin. But salicylic acid helped a lot. You know the Proactive range? They have salicylic acid in it. So I used some of that. And skincare, basic things like changing your pillows regularly, not using hair products with loads of mineral oil and grease, because those clog up your pores, and just like being more conscious with my face hygiene and stuff. And eventually it cleared up, and now I have lovely skin.
You can see.
But yeah, I don't know, ladies, what would be your final thoughts quickly before I conclude on the show about taking care of your health? And even if it's really embarrassing and awkward for you to go to the doctor or GP about a particular problem, what would you say to women out there?
Well, should I? Okay. Well, I heard something that you said when you mentioned that you know your body.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I would say if you know your body and you know that something is not right, and many times, as we say that, we go to the GP and they said, oh, well, they give us a prescription, whatever. But there are times when you do have to insist, no, I would prefer to go and have a checkup at the hospital. And there are times when you really do have to insist on that.
Yeah, I think that's
because
very important.
if you know your own body, you know there's something wrong. And,
I think fear as well cripples some people.
Definitely.
Yeah, fear, yes.
I think that, that's what I was going to say, Jen. I think that as women we need to stop being so afraid, and we have to be more open. Like a show like this, you know, I've said a couple of things on the show because I feel so open to talk about it, and I know that I'm not alone in it. And I think that's the thing with women, we have to talk, we have to open up about what's going on, and don't think that, you know, we have this thing that we don't speak about it, it's not happening. It is happening.
It is happening.
It's happening, and we need to deal with it. And you know, like you said, that's why some women, they feel like, I've tried the GP and it failed, so I'm not going to say anything to anyone else. But you know, there's always family members, there's friends, people that you can talk to, that you can get help with your health. Your health is not something that you can, you know, you can joke with. So, but there is the fear of, what if it's this? I prefer not to know. But you need to know,
very, very
so that you can deal with it.
But then it may not be anything wrong, but at least you have peace of mind knowing that, okay, I've gone, they've, you know, you've had the test, you've been checked out, and okay, fine.
Yeah. And that, you know, ladies, you wrapped it up, and that's what I want to conclude with. Like I said, your body is your responsibility. I know it could be daunting, it can be really scary if you've got a really embarrassing ailment and you've never seen it before and you don't know how to quite deal with it. However, having said that, it could be something so small and insignificant. If you didn't have it checked out when you first saw it, it could turn into a massive problem. And it's just not worth it on the basis of you're embarrassed or you're afraid. So ladies, if you're in doubt, don't be afraid to check it out. That's my conclusion for today. I hope you enjoy this show. We had a fab time with you today, and we'll be back next week Sunday with another great show of DKW. Stay tuned, ladies.
This one's for the girls. This one's for